more stimulating talk.
Kfi Am 640 live everywhere. They're on the iHeart app. It's the Bill Handel Show, and he is on vacation, but we are finishing up Handel on the News. Jennifer Jones-Lee and me, and saying goodbye is so bittersweet.
That is UCLA and USC saying goodbye to the 10 because they're moving on to the 12. The move became official late yesterday.
They're actually saying goodbye to the 12.
To the 12 going to the 10. Sorry, I said that wrong.
They're going to make the 10 the 12.
Yeah, there you go. So
why wouldn't they want to keep hanging out with all the West Coast schools in the Pac-12? Your Stanford and your Oregon and your Washington States and all that. And why would they want to go hang out with all these corn-fed Midwestern people like Michigan and Nebraska and Ohio State? I'm sorry, the Ohio
State, yeah. They say Wayne.
State, Purdue, and then Rutgers is in there for some reason in New Jersey.
With the Big Ten, they say they join a storied conference that shares their commitment to academic excellence and athletic competitiveness. So apparently, what the Pac-12 didn't?
Here's the deal, and this is true. This is 100% true. This is all about money.
Of course it is.
Because this is absolutely true. Pac-12 teams, the payouts were about $20 million a team. Big Ten teams, more than double the average payout per team. This is all about getting more money for the programs. And as the streaming services now start to get into a bidding war to carry college football content, they also think, the other thing I said is true. This one is more speculative. They think they'll have a better chance at getting bigger contracts if they're part of the Big Ten.
True. Yeah.
Okay, hold on, I gotta scroll down one. Oh, so, you have Banksy.
Yeah, the artist.
And we also have kind of a homegrown Banksy. Not homegrown, because I think he is from Britain, but we have a local Banksy called Plastic Jesus.
Yeah.
Whose real name is Nick, apparently. And he likes to do similar things to what Banksy does. And so his latest thing that he just did is he made and then got into a Target store on display a bulletproof school desk with a sign that says, "No more need for thoughts and prayers. Don't let your child be the next victim, and only available in the USA. Money back if your child gets shot."
Oh, my.
Target had nothing to do with it. They didn't facilitate it. He just went in there and did it. And this is the kind of stuff he likes to do.
I mean, I get that he was trying to send a message about gun violence, but the whole money back guarantee if your child gets that might have gone a little far.
Hey, do you remember when somebody put up a fence, a wall, really like a border-style wall around Donald Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Yeah.
That was this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was this guy. And also, he did a thing at Target also before where he got child-sized bulletproof vests and managed to get them onto the racks in the back-to-school section.
Oh, my God.
I love this stuff. I happen to love this kind of culture jamming stuff.
Oh,
so.
I think it's creative.
And he's not hurting anybody.
He's not hurting anybody, and he's making he's making a statement in a very peaceful way. Did he possibly...
I don't know how effective it is.
Right. Right. All right.
And I'm not saying he's I think he's a super effective activist. I just like this sort of thing. People that go in with the product stickers that are just a little bit different.
Oh, yeah.
And they put them on all the products, and you can't necessarily tell unless you're paying attention. I do love that kind of stuff. Oh, I wish that I was back in high school.
Because you wouldn't have to start now if you were in high school before 8:30, and if you're in middle school, you wouldn't have to start school before 8 because California's late start law starts today. And they say that, according to doctors, that kids are more alert when they sleep a little bit more and they're more productive, and there's a reduction in suicide and teen car accidents and improved physical and mental health.
You know that the average start time for the high schools in this country was 8 a.m.
Yeah.
But almost half started before that, and 10% of them started before 7:30.
Wow, that is early.
7:15 homeroom? Oh, no. Do you remember what time school started for you?
8. It was 8. Because we had to leave at 7:45 because we only lived 2 miles from the school. But it was a 2-lane road. I know. 2-lane road, and you had to go across a 1-lane bridge. And sometimes you would get stuck on the bridge, or you had to wait. There was always a backup at the bridge, and so that's where you would wait, and, whatever. And so we left at 7:45 to go 2 miles.
Oh, my. Okay, that's a very Southern California thing now.
I know, exactly. That was
People listening are like, wait, it only took you 15 minutes to go 2 miles? That's fantastic.
See, and we were out in the sticks. I mean, literally, no. If you have a 1-lane bridge, obviously you have no stoplights or street lights or anything like that. But it was so rural that you had traffic backup. You'd have traffic backup. But
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you'd have literally traffic backup if the guy down the street's cows got out. Like, there was no way around. Seriously, no way around.
They didn't have a person at this bridge all the time to go like, you guys stop, you guys come across, now it's your turn on the other side.
Oh, no.
Well, how was this mediated? If somebody was already on the bridge, you stopped and waited for them to get across. What was the rule if 2 people approached each side of the bridge at roughly the same time?
You just sort of, wave to the other person that you were going to back up, and then you would back up, and then the guy behind you had to back up, and it's still there. It's still there.
It's terrible. You know what else is terrible? These super long flights that you take, especially if you're going overseas and you are in an economy seat.
Yes.
On a 10, 15, could be a 20-hour flight. Well, Air New Zealand has the solution. You can rent for 4 hours during the flight one of their bunk bed pods. It's a completely flat, lay-down bunk bed that you can get into for up to 4 hours during the flight. So you sit, if it's a 15-hour flight, you spend 11 hours in your crappy seat, and 4 hours in lay-down luxury with full-size pillows and a reading light and earplugs and a USB port and a ventilation outlet. I wonder what they're going to charge for that.
I don't know, but it would be worth it.
I mean, you're already somebody who had to go economy on a long-haul flight, so I'm guessing you probably don't have a lot of extra money. Hopefully it's affordable.
And at first I was kind of grossed out by this when I read it, but then I started thinking, it's no different than a hotel. They're changing out the bedding in between people. And so I know I'm sleeping on the same pillow that, whoever was in there the night before, they've just changed the pillowcase. So I guess, I don't know.
It's something, it seems ookier, though.
Because
I don't know why.
Because you're in a tube, and now you're in a shared space that's sort of intimate. Yeah.
All right, hey, when we come back, some kind of health-related news has to do with, do you want your information, all your health information, to be available at the stroke of a keyboard? Well, that is what California is going to start requiring. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart app. Happy 4th. You too. Thanks.
KFI.
KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Could get some relief. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Governor Newsom has signed a nearly $308 billion budget that includes $9.5 billion in refunds for taxpayers to ease the high gas prices. The refunds range from $200 for individuals to as much as $1,050 for couples with children. The State Assembly Committee looking into California's high gas prices has heard from the executive director of the California Energy Commission. Drew Bond says the crude oil prices are the biggest factor, followed by refinery outages.
We've got a chart that will show refinery outages over time, and when one happens, again, when we only have 10 large ones, one goes out, that drives the price up very, very quickly.
Bond says the refinery costs and taxes in California also are driving the prices high, along with the so-called mystery surcharge of about 30 cents. He says that's just retailers charging more in California. Now, the gas price in LA County is down for the 17th consecutive day in a row. The average price of a gallon of self-serve regular gas is almost $6.31. That's $2 higher than a year ago. Gas prices in OC have also dropped 17 days in a row to an average of $6.22. I'll get you your California average in just a moment. Linwood and La Puente will be hosting a patriotic laser light show this weekend instead of a fireworks show.
That's because the fireworks vendor they were going to use was busted by the state fire marshal. City officials say the warehouse for expo shows in Mojave was raided on the 25th for public safety concerns and possible criminal activity. Expo Shows says the investigation's an overreaction by the fire marshal. The cities of Lancaster and Palmdale also use Expo Shows, but they're still trying to cobble together a possible celebration that may also cancel at the last minute. Steve Gregory, Kfi News.
LAPD Chief Moore says a lot has changed since a bomb squad explosion injured 17 people in South LA.
We've established policies that the use of a TCV, total containment vehicle, will not be used in any residence setting in the state of Los Angeles going forward for the destruction of explosives.
The accidental explosion happened last year while bomb techs were trying to neutralize explosive materials. 17 of the 24 houses damaged have been repaired. Moore says some residents refuse to return home because of pending litigation or because of trauma of the explosion. Pasadena is soaking its hillsides for the 4th of July weekend. Pasadena Fire Chief Chad Augustine says crews have been covering many of the city's hills in fire retardant.
Anywhere where we have our really high fire threat areas.
Augustine says the retardant will provide fire protection until it rains. Crews started spraying the hillsides with it yesterday. California's given Pasadena a chunk of land back.
The state has returned 50 acres that were supposed to be used to extend the 710 freeway. Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo says it's been a long time since the land belonged to the city.
The state took the land over in approximately 1956. Since then, the matter's been hotly debated.
Gordo says the city is eyeing many different possibilities on how to use the land. State officials voted to give the property back to the city on Wednesday. The land is just south of the 210 and the 134. In Pasadena, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Several deputies have been shot in Kentucky. At least one death is being reported. The deputies were shot last night while trying to serve a warrant. The shooter has been arrested. A Navy investigation says bad management caused fuel to leak into Pearl Harbor's tap water. The leak poisoned thousands of people and forced military families to evacuate their homes last year. The report says from May through November 2021, many mistakes allowed fuel from a massive World War II-era military-run tank farm to leak into the drinking water well. And a man from Florida has been charged with grand theft for trying to steal an R2-D2 statue from Disney World. He claimed he was trying to prove their weaknesses in the theme park security. The man was dressed as a Disney World employee when he was arrested at the end of May. A website about Disney's theme park news says the man is a former school principal in Maryland who stole $15,000 from his school district in 2013 and 2014. Checking your KFI financial report right now, the Dow is up 122, S&P is up 18, NASDAQ is up 67, and as promised, the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $6.21. Your SoCal weather from KFI. Looks like we're going to have a sunny day ahead, little cooler than yesterday. Highs will be in the 70s at the beaches, upper 70s right around 80 for Orange County and Metro LA, upper 80s, low 90s for the valleys in the IE, but those inland highs should be all in the 80s by Sunday and your 4th of July Monday. Right now, it is 64 in Huntington Beach, 67 in Pasadena. Let's get a look at the drive. BKFI in the sky. Jeff Baugh checking out now. Problems again on the 15.
Good morning. Well, first of all, there's not too much morning drive traffic going on here. We're in fairly good shape, but we had a few earlier problems. Now, if you're trying to make an early escape to Vegas, North 15 before Oak Hill, it was a rig and a driver of a rig kind of lost it, went into the right guardrail. So minimal delays. I really wouldn't worry about it. After that, you'll be okay. And really good news, if you're going through Temescal Canyon, South 15 at the canyon, the whole freeway was shut down. There was a terrible crash there, resulted in a fatality. But that's ancient history. You can go through there now. Now, I do want to warn you about destination LAX. If you've been listening to Jennifer for a while, the airline cancellations are off the chart, but the freeway's getting there. Right now, you're in pretty good shape, really. The West 105 is in good shape, 605 all the way in. South 405 leaving the San Fernando Valley, that's always busy, that's for sure. Pretty much from Victory up and over the hill. We kind of lose it in the marine layer on the other side, but sure, it's busy. But LAX, you really got to have your airport act together, that's for sure. Make sure you know where you got to go and give yourself plenty of time. Jeff Baugh, Kfi Am the Sky.
The economy is heading for a total disaster. The Fed must choose between a stock market and housing market crash or hyperinflation high. This is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement savings into physical gold today. To help you get started, my friends at Birch Gold have created a free information kit on gold IRAs. To get your free copy, just text SHELTER to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required. Again, that's SHELTER to 989898.
COVID-19 vaccines help keep our families safer from the risks of COVID-19. Now, children 6 months and older are eligible to receive that same reassuring protection. As a parent, you might have questions or want to find out more about COVID-19 vaccines for kids. And that's okay. Talk with your doctor today or visit vaccinateall58.com to learn more so you can feel good about the facts. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Injured in an accident? Visit supercab.com.
KFI.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart app. Good morning. It's the Bill Handel Show. Bill on vacation. And let's talk about it. California. Boy, we love to pass laws in California. And a law was passed last year, and here's what it requires. All health providers, all what they call human services providers, must sign a statewide data sharing agreement. And the origin of this is pandemic related. If we rewind back to March 2020, wow, it was that long ago. And remember there was announced we would have a 2-week lockdown. Boy, would that turned into something else, didn't it? But at that moment, we were all expecting a 2-week lockdown, and then health officials were trying to figure out how many patients were being hospitalized with COVID-19, how many of them are in intensive care, how many beds are still available. There was no coordinated data sharing system in place. There was no place for a hospital to send data to the state, for example. And so Dr. Mark Galey, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and his staff had to call up 426 hospitals to get this information. That's a lot of phone calls. And so they passed the legislation, and it applies to hospitals and doctors' offices and nursing homes and laboratories, mental and behavioral health providers, substance abuse treatment facilities, health insurance plans, public health departments, emergency services, pretty much anything that has to do with your well-being. Now, the agreement that all these places have to sign is supposed to be published today. So that already gives you a sense of how slow things move in government, because they passed a law last year and it said, you're all going to have to sign an agreement, and here we are, July 1st, and the agreement itself is finally going to come out, unless it's delayed again. And then, here's another thing. If you're a hospital or a doctor, you have 6 months to sign it. 6 months to sign an agreement. Which might make some sense if this were optional or voluntary, I guess. You would want some time to look at it and consult with attorneys possibly, and maybe with your patients, and figure out if you wanted to sign on or not. But this is mandatory, so you have to sign it. So why do you need 6 months to sign it? And then, once that happens, you have a year after that to start sharing the data. All right, I don't want to rag too much on the state for putting such a long timeline into it, because at least at the end of it is what seems to be a good idea, with some caveats, as you're going to find out in a second. So here's what would happen. Here's the part that's good. You go to the emergency room. Something's going on in your body. Not good. You show up. They can go, beep, 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 beep. That's somebody typing on a computer, by the way. Beep, 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 beep. And they can request your full medical record and social services history in real time. Here's another thing. You would be able to look at your own records easily. Because how easy would it be for you right now, if you wanted to go look at all your medical history, how easy would it be for you to get it? Now, part of that might depend on what health insurance plan you have. If you're at a place like Kaiser Permanente, and you've been with a place like Kaiser Permanente for a long time, it might not be that difficult to go log onto their website, go into your patient portal, and look at your past visits. But if you're not, and you've gone to different doctors, different hospitals, it's going to be a daunting task. This would make it apparently pretty darned easy. Also, government agencies would have easy access. Don't get excited. They would have access to aggregate data. So what they would get is demographics, general statistics on patient outcomes. How's this hospital doing saving people's lives compared to this one? And that way, this whole scramble that they had to engage in at the beginning of the pandemic, we would never have to do that anymore. So you would think that hospital systems, public health agencies, that kind of thing, but they would love this, right? Streamline the sharing of information. After all, if you're going to get good medical care, the people giving you the care should probably know your medical history. The California Hospital Association, you've also got these people, the California Association of Public Hospitals and Health Systems. It seems a little bit duplicative, but I guess you need both. They're already complaining. And they're saying that all these requirements exceed what the law says. So a law was passed, and then people in Sacramento said, well, here's how we're going to implement it. And these two groups are crying, you're going too far. Also, the California Association of Health Plans says some of this stuff goes beyond the scope of what the law says. Are we going to see lawsuits that are going to hold it up? Maybe. Then you also have another concern, and this one I agree with. County Welfare Directors Association of California, there's one of those. There's also a County Behavioral Health Directors Association. There's also a Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California group. They are concerned about data privacy, data security, because I want the doctor at the urgent care to be able to see my whole medical record as close to instantly as possible. But I don't want anonymous to see it. I don't want some hacker seeing it at all. So we just had the big data breach for the concealed weapons permit people in this state. We know that governments don't do a very good job of keeping our data safe. And I'm hoping, although it's not clear, that part of this long timeline that they wrote into the law is for the state to figure out how they're going to truly protect our health information. But, I'll be honest with you, I like the idea, I support the goal. I'm concerned, too, that we're going to end up getting your health data leaked all over the place. All right, let's get some news from Jennifer Jones-Lee. And then, Sheriff Villanueva is telling you there's going to be so many more people carrying concealed weapons now. Is he correct? This is KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeart app. And here's Jennifer Jones-Lee live from the 24-hour KFI newsroom.
A listeria outbreak has sickened nearly 24 people in 10 states. One has died. The CDC says 22 people have been put in the hospital. Most live in Florida or at least traveled there a month before they got sick. President Biden will meet virtually today with governors to talk about his efforts to try and protect access to reproductive health care. And a new lawsuit is accusing Tesla of racial abuse against black employees. A group of 15 current and former employees has filed a suit against the electric car company, claiming they were harassed and subjected to racial abuse at Tesla's factory in the Bay Area. Let's get a look at your drive. The KFI in the sky. This time it's a check in the 91.
That's a little bit of a problem going through the canyon here. He's got 91 just in canyon going out towards the east. Just be careful getting rid of one of the left lanes, possibly blocked. I'm sure they're trying to clear it out to the shoulder now as you go by, but just be careful. Now the westbound drop better than you're used to at this time of the morning, that's for sure. 57 all the way over to the 110. It's a little slow, got to the 110, but in pretty good shape. San Fernando Valley, that's where we are right now. As a matter of fact, passing over the 134 interchange, and look at down here, everybody's moving. That's a good thing. Jeff Baum, KFI in the sky.
I'm an American today because of my paternal grandfather. Hello, I'm John Aquarian, founder of Ritter Hero Plumbing and Air. My grandfather escaped the tyranny in Armenia, moved to California, and sent for us. This great country took us in and gave us sanctuary. I'm grateful every day for the brave men who carved out our Constitution. Things are tough right now, and we're being tested. Despite all this, there's no place I'd rather be. This month, let's show Lady Liberty, even though she's under duress, and stand beside her. I want to take a moment to thank you for trusting Ritter Hero Plumbing and Air with your most valuable asset, your home. Call us at 866-DRAIN-77 and we'll cable your drain or give you an 18-unit safety check for only $77. That's 866-DRAIN-77. Thank you. Yeah, 102-88-86, slash 99-56-88.
And Mario Lopez here, and saving California's water starts with a few simple things in and outside your home. And you know the Lopez family is doing what we can do to help. Like, did you know fixing water sprinkler leaks can save 27 to 90 gallons of water per day? Or that adjusting your sprinklers to water plants and not pavement helps a lot. Let's do this, Cali, and make water saving our way of life. Find more water saving tips you can use at home at SaveOurWater.com. Bad news, water restrictions are here. Good news, Rough and Tough Turf is your answer. You're going to save money on water and gardening bills, and Rough and Tough guarantees it'll pay for itself within years. Call Rough and Tough Turf right now and ask about the KFI Spring Special. You're going to get free demo and $1,000 off. 818-403-3581. 818-403-3581. 818-403-3581 or the website, roughandtoughturf.com. That's R-U-F-F, letter N-T-U-F-F.com. CSLB 103-0514.
Hey, Field Today, are you ready for summer? Wherever summer takes you, make sure you take KFI along on your adventures with the free iHeartRadio app. No matter how far from home you travel, KFI, all the music you love, and the best podcasts in the world will be there in your pocket. Sunscreen, flip-flops, and of course the free iHeartRadio app. All must-haves for any summer getaway. Download the free iHeartRadio app, and this summer you'll discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
Hey, it's Steve Gregory. Join me every Saturday for Unsolved, where we talk with investigators about cold cases, challenging cases, even the most wild, and the interviews aren't only interesting, they're making an impact.
The word is getting out there, so I can tell you, Steve, this first forward on your show Unsolved, we've seen uptick in tips on our decline.
Listen on air, online, or download the podcast. It's the only show of its kind in Southern California.
Unsolved with Steve Gregory. Tomorrow night at 8 on KFI.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart app. Good morning, it's the Bill Handel Show. Still on vacation. We are soldiering on. Oh, check this out, man. We are really going to be rebels later in the show. Now, Neil is on vacation. I hope I'm allowed to say that. And I have to say it to explain why he won't be here today for Foodie Friday. We're doing it anyway. He's not the only guy who eats. And, Misty, are you possibly by a microphone?
I'm right
He's not.
here.
Okay. Oh, well, kudos to you. Because earlier in the show, we had a story about the hot dog restaurant in, is it in Memphis? Memphis? Is that where it is?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville? All right, I was close. Hot dog restaurant in Nashville that's giving out free milkshakes to guys who come in and prove that they had a vasectomy. Well, I had a lot of questions about how it works and how do you prove it and who is eligible, and I had a bunch of questions. And coming on the show later, the guy who owns Daddy's Dogs in Nashville, Tennessee, to explain that program in case all the restaurateurs here in Southern California want to implement a similar incentive.
Way to go, Missy.
So good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about things that go bang bang, which are guns. Now, first thing is, we all know the Supreme Court overturned a New York law that made it really hard to get a concealed carry permit, and so it's going to be easier to get a concealed carry permit here in California. Sheriff Alex Villanueva has said, oh, you're going to see a lot more concealed carry permits in LA County. Now, he's not saying that, I don't think, as a warning or a complaint. He's a guy who, when he got into office, he said, hey, this office has been too stingy in the past. And we're not going to go crazy and just hand out permits to anybody, but we're going to loosen it up a little bit. He said that very soon after taking office, so I don't think that he is necessarily upset about this. Here's the thing. What is LA County's population? 10 million, roughly, plus or minus? Well, according to the LA Times, as of this week, guess how many active concealed carry permits there are in LA County? 3,145. I'm having trouble believing this. I'm already... Sorry, Jen?
Sorry. Oh, not meant for you.
Got it. Immediately, my mind goes to, wait, something that's not the right number, or it's a partial number, or they're talking about that's only the number of permits that have been issued since Villanueva took office, but they're saying active permits right now, 3,145 in a county of 10 million people. That's very few. That strongly suggests that getting a concealed carry permit in LA County is entirely a matter of who you know. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. One of the things that the new way of doing it, which is if you meet specified criteria, you get the permit, is it's going to even out the wild disparity between counties. This is the problem with having a good cause component, where you have to convince somebody, and it's a particular person. You have to convince them that you really need it. Not that you're entitled to it as a matter of constitutional law, and not even that you're entitled to it as a matter of, hey, I have met all the rules. You still have to convince them further. And any regulatory scheme that works like that is bogus. Okay, we're talking about guns. It's a hot button topic. Some people don't want any guns out on the streets. I respect that view. But it's the same idea if it was something like getting a permit to add on to your house, or being able to have a parade, or being able to rent out the city park for an event. And not only did you have to show that you have enough insurance and show that you can pay a fee for the cleanup, but also you've got to convince somebody that your event is so important, or it's so cool, that you should be allowed to get that permit. And they can sit there and fold their arms and go, yeah, I don't really care. What is this an event about? It's about child scientists showing off their project? I don't care about that. Permit denied. You can't run a government that way. It's too much discretion. So yeah, there's going to be more concealed carry permits. How many more? Who knows? It's impossible to know. But think about this. So if there's only about 3,150 active concealed carry permits in LA County,